Welcome to Diva Highlights, where we talk about a famous operatic diva or divo from history and recreate their signature stage makeup look. So today we're paying homage to Spanish soprano Montserrat Caballe, otherwise known as La Superba, and sadly we lost her fairly recently on the 6th of October 2018. If you look at photos of Caballe, she more or less had the same stage makeup look from the beginning of her career to the end of her career. So this is the main reference image that I'm going to base this look off today. There are also a few coloured ones to get a sense of the palette that she used as well. So we know her as Montserrat Caballe, but she actually had a really long name, which was Maria de Montserrat Bibiano Concepcion Caballe y Folk, and she was born on the 12th of April 1933 in Barcelona. So her family was formerly a middle-class family, but during this time there was the Spanish Civil War and there was a depression. So they actually were facing financial hardships as she was growing up. She started her training at the Lycée Conservatoire and she actually graduated with a gold medal, which is pretty cool.
Damn good job. Damn good, bloody good, damn good job.
So after she graduated at the Conservatoire, she moved from Spain to Italy. And in Italy, she actually tried for 2 years to get auditions and didn't get anything. So I hope that makes someone out there feel a little bit better if they're doing it tough at the moment. So with no luck in Italy, she ended up moving to Basel in Switzerland. And just as a pure coincidence, the Mimi in their La Boheme fell ill and she jumped in at short notice. I just realized I forgot to put my headband on. Alright, so looking at the reference image, I noticed she actually has a similar eyebrow shape to me. So I'm going to draw them on darker and a little bit more exaggerated. Wow, as a blonde, this looks kind of insane. So with her Mimi jump in, she obviously made quite the impression because she was then included in the ensemble at Basel for the next 2 years. Looking at the coloured reference photos, she's got a really intense shimmery highlight and then big blue streak of eyeshadow. So that's what we're going to do. So after the 2 years that she spent in Basel, she then got a job in the ensemble as a soloist at the Bremen Opera House in Germany. So after 5 years of having a modest career in Switzerland and Germany, she went back to Spain. She had a professional debut at the Lycée, and then she went on a tour of Mexico that was quite successful. So I'm putting this like in my crease and above. I'm not even going to bother taking it down onto the lid space because the eyeliner is so thick it's going to like take up the entire lid space pretty much anyway. So as with most of these stories of how an icon became an icon, there is a bit of luck involved. So in 1965, there was to be a performance of Donizetti's Lucrezia Borgia at Carnegie Hall, and Marilyn Horne was supposed to be in that. But due to pregnancy, she had to drop out. So Caballe was asked to jump in. At this point, she had never sung a bel canto role before and she only had 1 month to learn and prepare the role. The performance was an absolute huge success and Caballe got a 25-minute standing ovation. And this event just skyrocketed her into success. So same year, 1965, she made her debut at the Glyndebourne Festival. So she sang the Marschallin in Strauss's Der Rosenkavalier, and she also sung Contessa in Le Nozze di Figaro from Mozart. And then she went back to Carnegie Hall. At this point, Donizetti's Roberto Devereux had just been rediscovered, which is wild to think about because that's an opera that's kind of back into the canon. And if that wasn't enough of an insane year, in December she also made her Metropolitan Opera debut in New York. So there she was singing Marguerite in Gounod's Faust. Woohoo! I somehow have to do this on the other side. It's more or less the same. I'm going to set it with a little bit of black eyeshadow so this doesn't move. So then for the rest of the 1960s, she basically appeared at every major opera house in the US and sang with every famous singer. It really was just a huge rush to the top in the space of a year. So I'm going to get a light colored pencil and I'm going to essentially draw a new eye. She then finally started singing in Italy a little bit more. So in 1969, she made her Arina di Verona debut. She was singing Elizabeth in Don Carlo by Verdi. And then in 1970, she made her La Scala debut. And that time she was singing the title role of Donizetti's Lucrezia Borgia. And during this time, she was also singing regularly at the Met as well. Oh, okay, I'm nervous for this. It's drawing on the new lower lash line. In 1972, she made her first appearance at Covent Garden in London and also at the Lyric Opera of Chicago, where she was singing Violetta. And look, I don't know what to tell you. Throughout the 70s, she was a huge superstar. She was singing at all the major opera houses all over the world with the most famous conductors and the most famous singers. So she'd basically solidified herself as being an icon by this point. Okay, so we're going to draw on the bottom lashes now, and they're very much angled out and down. In the 1980s, she wasn't performing on stage in operas as much. She was more doing studio recordings. And that includes the Freddie Mercury era, which a lot of people know her from. So Freddie Mercury from Queen and Caballe actually became quite good friends.
That would be
Call
myself.
me Monsi.
Okay, Monsi. No, not Super Diva. Oh, sometimes Monsi.
Si.
Once I say Monsi,
But
then...
not Montserrat.
No.
Because
Okay.
the very close friends says Monsi to me.
Yeah. But if I say my Super Diva,
Yeah,
my
my
baby,
number
my
one.
darling, all this, yes.
In 1987, they recorded the hit Barcelona together. Freddie Mercury died in 1991. They used the song Barcelona for the 1992 Summer Olympic Games, which are in, you guessed it, Barcelona. So the song actually re-entered the charts. So towards the end of her life, Caballe was an UNESCO Goodwill Ambassador. She had established a foundation for needy children in Barcelona. But also, in 2015, she was found guilty of tax evasion and fraud. She had said she'd been living in Andorra when she'd actually been living in Spain to avoid tax.
That's weird.
I don't know what the story with this would have been, because she would have been 82 years old at the time. How does this happen? Anyway, she was fined €250,000 and she was given a 6-month suspended jail sentence, and she wasn't allowed to receive any public subsidies for 18 months. It looks like she's got quite a lot of contour on the cheek, a little bit on her jawline, and a little tiny bit in the bridge of the nose. Contouring this area, I've noticed a lot of the old school male opera singers do this too. For blush, she kind of takes it right up the cheek. Caballe, she was known for her seemingly endless breath supply. She had gorgeous legato lines and an absolutely divine pianissimo. She was asked by a journalist how she developed such a beautiful pianissimo, and she answered, "It's so she could hear the prompter." So for her lips, I've noticed she likes quite a horizontal shape. She overlines on the bottom lip at the outer corners just a little bit, and the top is kind of kept a little rounded. So in September of 2018, she was sent to hospital in Barcelona for gallbladder issues. Unfortunately, she had health problems throughout most of her life. She had 7 major surgeries over the course of her career. So she was having some gallbladder issues, and unfortunately she would die in that hospital on the 6th of October in 2018. And she was 85 when she died. I think the closest lipstick I have to what I can see she's wearing in the photo would be this one. It's kind of like a brick red kind of color. And I'm just gonna fill in my lips. This, I guess, is the finished look. All right, see you in a second.